Hello everyone, I'm Amod and welcome to my YouTube channel. So if your dropdown is created using a select tag, then Playwright provides you a method called selectOption to choose value from it. This method works for both single and multiple select dropdowns. I have already explained about this method in my previous video of Playwright playlist. Now let's think about situations where we need to add more options one by one or remove some of the already selected options. In case of single select drop down like this, if you want to select any value, then just click on that option. Then that option will be selected in the drop down. And if you want to deselect this option, then if you try to click on the same option again, it will not be deselected. So to deselect the already selected value, you need to select the default option, which is please make a selection for this drop down. But in many drop downs, you might not find any default option. So basically, you can change the option or you can select the default option if available. So we are expecting that Playwright should also behave in the same way. Let's try some code here. So this example I have covered in my previous video where I am launching the Amazon.com page and then I am selecting I forget my password option. Let me quickly run this program. So you can see a value has been selected in the drop down. Now I'm going to duplicate these lines below, and before repeating the line I am going to wait for 3 seconds. So let me run it. So you can see it has selected the value and it is waiting for 3 seconds, which is over I think. And if you go to console, you can see this is paused and it has not deselected the value because we are clicking on the same option again. So that is the normal behavior. We have just tried that manually. Now, instead of clicking on the same option, I'm going to pass the empty array here. Let's see what happens. Run it. So you can see it has selected, and if you go to browser, you can see it has deselected the selected value and we don't even see the default option in the drop down. So just to repeat, I provided an empty array in the select option method. So basically what I was expecting, either it should have reset the default value in the drop down or it should have thrown some error. But it has cleared the value itself and it has not set the default value, which I think it's not a correct behavior because it is not reflecting the actual behavior. But here, if you try to select the value again after this step, and let me put some wait time here as well. If you go to browser, you can see it has selected the value, waiting for 3 seconds, deselected the value, and it will select the value again. So for this dropdown, we did not face any issue when the dropdown was not showing the default value. But in some other applications, you might see the issue when dropdown is broken. So please be mindful when you use select option with the empty array. So if you want to deselect any selected value in a single select dropdown, then you need to select the default option, or you may need to use some other way like refreshing the page again. But don't pass empty array with the select option method. Now let's see how this works with the multi-select dropdown. So in case of multi-select dropdown, if you want to select any value, then you can directly click that value. But if you want to select more than one value, you need to press Control key and then click on option so that you can set multiple values. If you want to deselect any selected value, then also you need to press Control and you can click on the selected value so that that value will be deselected. Now let's see how select option method works here. So this is the example I covered in my previous video where I am selecting multiple values in the drop down. So first of all, I am going to duplicate these lines below and I'm going to wait for 3 seconds. So basically I am selecting apple and cherry, then I will wait for 3 seconds. Then again I am clicking on apple and cherry. Let's see if it is deselecting these selected values or not. as we did manually. So let's run it. So apple and cherry are selected and it is waiting for 3 seconds, which is passed now. Let me go to console and you can see program is over and we don't see apple and cherry deselected. So behavior is similar to single select dropdown here. If you're passing the same option, it is not deselecting it. Let's try some other example here. So this time, instead of two options, I'm going to pass only cherry and run the program. So you can see apple and cherry are selected and after 3 seconds, apple was deselected, but cherry remains selected. So what is happening here? So when we passed both the options, it did not deselect them, but whenever we passed only one option, it is deselecting others. So basically what is happening, whenever we call select option method on a drop down, it is clearing the already selected options from that drop down first and then reselecting the values. That's why here it had selected apple and cherry and then it waited for 3 seconds and for this method it cleared both the values and then it selected cherry again in the drop down. Just to prove this point, I'm going to remove cherry from here and first I'm selecting apple and then cherry. So let's see what happens in this scenario. So you can see apple is selected and it is waiting for 3 seconds and now it has selected cherry only. Apple was deselected. So if you want to do any incremental selection like first select apple and then cherry, then basically you need to pass apple again like this. And if you run this program now, you can see apple is selected and then cherry is also selected. So if you have a scenario where you need to do incremental selection, then make sure that you are passing the previous values again or get all the values whatever you want to select and then pass at once. Similar concept will be applied if you want to deselect any value. So suppose you have selected apple and cherry and you want to deselect cherry. Then in the next call, you need to pass apple only so that cherry will be deselected automatically. So the basic concept here is that select option will deselect all the previously selected value in the dropdown. Similarly, if you want to deselect all the values, then you need to pass empty array. So let me pass cherry in the first method call and then pass an empty array here. So in this case, it will select apple and cherry first, then it will wait for 3 seconds, and then it will deselect all the values because we are not passing any value. So it's running. You can see apple and cherry are selected, and now it will be deselected, which you can see on the screen. So this select option is little tricky in case of deselection, but I hope this video makes it clear. So you need to be little careful while deselecting the value using this method. So that's all in this video. If you have any doubt, please comment on this video. If you really like the videos, please like, comment, subscribe and share with others. Thank you everyone.